Senator Feinstein, we're delighted to have you, and you'll be first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member Blumenthal, and members on both sides of the aisle. I'm going to speak today on the Los Angeles Homeless Veterans Leasing Act, a bill I introduced with Senator Boxer. I'd like to thank David Norris from the California chapter of the Veterans of Foreign Wars for traveling to Washington to testify in support of our proposal. This bill would allow a facility, which is a very large facility, it's 388 acres on Wilshire and San Vicente. On the north side of Wilshire is a veteran cemetery, and on the south side of Wilshire is a very large complex, including a hospital, several buildings, a UCLA baseball diamond, and many other things. It's run down. It needs help. Now, the majority of veterans, the largest number of veterans in America, actually live in Los Angeles. There are 3,000 of them, and more than 4,000 have no place to go. They are, in fact, homeless. 10% of the veterans in this country live in Southern California. Simply, we need to get things right at the West LA VA. I'd like to briefly recap the history. Every VA facility in the country has the leasing authority provided in my bill, except for the West LA VA. In 2007, Congress took that authority away after it became clear that leases were being granted to commercial entities that were not serving veterans. This included everything from a movie lot to a laundry facility. The problem led to a 2011 lawsuit, which was settled earlier this year. But now, thanks to the leadership of Veterans Secretary Bob McDonald, we're back on the right track. Since he has taken over, we've spoken many times about the issues LA veterans face. He's put an excellent new team together. I've met with them in Los Angeles last month and was thoroughly briefed. I believe we now have a path forward to make sure the campus fulfills its obligation to serve the veterans. And here's why. This land is a grant from a former senator by the name of Jones and the Bandini family in 1888. And it said, the grant said, it has to be used exclusively for veterans. So at a certain time, facilities were rented out to like a Fox back lot to UCLA for a baseball stadium, to a laundry, to a rental car business. Well, that's not for veterans. This enhanced lease would enable the VA to use nonprofits and thereby access about $600 million of the state of California's money, which has been specifically earmarked for veterans on that facility. At present, that cannot be done. So it's an essential tool to implement the new master plan, and it will allow the department to build housing more quickly and more affordably than it would be able to through the traditional VA construction process. I also want to thank this committee. You authorized funds for the first building for homeless, now have 55 units. We have $35 million for the second building, and the thrust here is to allow nonprofits to come in for the specific purpose of building veterans housing. And so I am hopeful that, let me just point a couple of things out. New leases must be consistent with the master plan. The Office of Inspector General will regularly report on any new leases and land use agreements. If the VA is not in compliance, new leases will be prohibited. And the VA must submit a report to Congress 45 days before entering into any new lease agreement. I truly believe, and I've worked on this for 10 years now, that this plan will help turn the page and ensure that we're doing everything we possibly can for veterans in Los Angeles going forward. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to insert letters of support from local officials, homeless advocates, and veterans groups into the hearing record. Thank you very much for this courtesy.
Thank you, Senator Feinstein. I want the committee to know that Senator Feinstein has worked with me diligently to try and bring this to a conclusion. Today's testimony is very helpful in that. The VA, I understand, will have the master plan complete by the 22nd of October. Is that not correct? We intend to move forward as quickly and expeditiously as possible. We appreciate your input.